Hey guys, this is Solution Podfic, and today we're going to be reading A Golden Child, painted red by Ezra129799. Now, Chapter 6 was actually an author's note, so without further ado, Chapter 7. Dick. Smoke was practically pouring from his ears. You mean to tell Dick that he had been trying to live up to the literal murderer of the family? He'd been trying to outdo Jason since Jay got offered the Robin mantle, and then had worked even harder to impress Bruce after Jason had hung up the cape. All this time, he had been trying to outdo a crime lord, a drug dealer, a murderer. Out of all the people he expected to be Red Hood, it was not his ickle-bickle baby brother. It wasn't fair. Bruce didn't even look angry. How could Jason get away with so much shit when Dick couldn't even get away with wearing his shoes in the house? Jason murdered. The one rule Bruce had was do not kill. There was one rule, and it was that. That was supposedly the one thing Bruce couldn't forgive. Yet here we are. The air in the cave couldn't even be cut with a chainsaw, a tense atmosphere suffocating the group. It was as if all of them were holding their breath, waiting for what Bruce was going to do. If it had been Tim or Dick, the cave would be shaking with Bruce's fury. But it wasn't Dick or Tim, it was Jason. And because it was Jason, it was different. Rules didn't work the same with Jason. He could always bend them, could always squirm his way out of difficult situations. He rarely got any sort of punishment. What he was most confused about was why had Jason decided to go all stabby-stabby? He was doing great things as Jason Todd. Why did Red Hood have to make an appearance? Why did Jason decide to become a criminal? Jason. There were a lot of ways he could go about this. Option 1, run. Option 2, tell the truth, hope and pray they understand. Option 3, ignore everyone and everything until they stop bothering him. Option 4, lie. Option 1 was immediately ruled out because that would be stupid. Sure, he had a lot of places he could go and not be found by his family. However, he happened to like his family, so he wasn't going to cut him off like that. Also, he was pretty sure that now that they knew it was him, it would be a lot easier to find the Red Hood. He wasn't going to run from a problem which could be fixed with words. That then also ruled out option 3. He, unlike most of his family, had a way with words. He was a manipulative little bitch, and he knew it. You have to be a little bit manipulative to convince people to invest in Gotham. He was great at talking his way out of shit, especially when it came to Bruce. The only reason he didn't talk to the Justice League was because he knew he couldn't talk his way out of Wonder Woman's interrogation. But Bruce was very far from being Wonder Woman, so Jason had a shot at bullshitting his way out of this. This is where the decision-making gets a bit difficult. Does he lie, or just tell the truth? Someone once said that the best lies contain a lot of truth. However, the best way of getting yourself out of situations is to tell a slightly better version of the truth. Is that considered a lie, or is it just considered a twisted truth? He's gonna go for a twisted truth, because it sounds just a tad bit better. The truth was, Jason was getting fed up with all the procedures he had to go through to even make the smallest of differences. Those streetlights in Crime Alley, it took months to get them put in place. Red Hood had renovated 3 buildings in the time it took to get the streetlights on some main roads. It took even longer to get them throughout Crime Alley. And that was supposed to be the easiest place to put them up. Red Hood got things done, and he got them done fast. He used the drugs to get money, and the money to get a better city. That's what Red Hood does, and what Jason Todd wishes he could do. Crime is efficient. Following rules is tedious. That's the truth. Why? Is finally asked by Bruce. They had only been stood there for ages. I wanted to help Gotham. I realized that as Jason Todd Wayne, I had to fight for anything to be done. People were always trying to combat my decisions, always wanting to wage war on progression. It took months to get anything done, and in those months, people died. Young women got non-consensual touch and hit. Children got kidnapped, and teenagers got into gangs and violence. Jason Todd Wayne had to scavenge for any sympathy for the vulnerable. The law became a restriction, something stopping me from helping people efficiently. It became a nuisance that just got in the way. So taking a couple of months to make tiny changes, I took on Red Hood. Red Hood allowed me to do what I wanted. I knew that I would have to sacrifice my morality in order to save people, but I was fine with that if it meant people got better futures. I only killed people to make criminals realize there are consequences to crime. It made people turn to places I set up as Jason Todd. Red Hood also gave me the opportunity to control the crime. People in Crime Alley don't deal to kids or single parents. They document who they sell to and limit how much people are allowed so that less people overdose and become unable to function because of drug use. They don't deal to people who go to NA meetings or who have come out of rehab. They still sell a lot and the trade still profits. Just now people aren't in danger of dying or ruining their lives. The money I make from the drug trade is first put into paying the people who work for me, paying for the kids' education and their families' medical bills. Any money after that is put into renovating rundown places and turning it into low-cost housing. In your eyes, murder is black and white. It's bad and should never be forgiven. But there's an entire sector of people in our city who are thankful I killed those people, who's grateful that I made actual change in Gotham. If you're gonna ask if I'm sorry for murdering those people, then my answer is no. I'm not sorry. If I could go back in time, I would kill all those people again. The only thing I would change is how long I waited before becoming the Red Hood. Jason finished his very long, very inspiring, very concerning speech, and, once again, the cave was haunted by the distant sound of bats fluttering in the far caverns of the area. All those people could have changed, Jason. They could have changed, but you took the choice away from them. You could have acted differently. You could have had them arrested, but instead you stripped them of their life. I took away their ability to devastate other people. I'm not sorry for hearing women scream out for help because some disgrace of a man is forcing himself on them and deciding to act. Those women would have had their souls stripped of them. They would have been forced to live the rest of their lives empty and numb. They would have had to live knowing that someone could easily rip away their freedom to choose. I'm not sorry for taking away somebody's ability to choose when they're so willing to take away someone else's. Yes, but no. There are no buts in this situation. I understand that you do not like killing, but I don't like people being traumatized for zero reason. There is no reason for innocent people to suffer. There is no reason for a child to be orphaned because of drug misuse. There is no reason for teenagers to be forced into a life of crime because the government that was meant to protect them set them up for failure. There is no reason for people to become depressed and suicidal because of another person's actions. I don't care if the monsters died, they deserved it. If the justice system was better, I would have just detained them. I would have entrusted them to the police, but the justice system is a wreck. It is constantly in ruins. I protected my people in the best way, and it's unfortunate that the best way was murder, but life is just like that. I don't regret making Crime Alley actually safe, and I never will regret it. Tim. He's never heard so many words be said in his entire life. He doesn't know if it's just because he didn't have many people to talk to as a kid, or if it's because it's a bit of a sensitive topic for Jason. He really does have a way with words. Tim wasn't really sure how Jason was going to get out of this one, but it looks like it's going to go well for him. He made some very good points, and if you think about it logically, everything he said is true. He did catch Jason using some persuasive techniques his English teacher taught him, though, so under all the truth, there must be some desperate need for Bruce to forgive him. Jason, you don't believe that. You can't possibly believe that, can you? Not everyone has a billionaire to scoop them off the streets, Bruce. Not everyone is as lucky as I am. They all deserve the same chances I got. If you don't believe that, then I don't know what you believe. Oh, he was very good. Very good at this, indeed. Mentally, Tim was taking notes. Here's what he had so far. 1. Tell the truth in a personal way. This makes it more difficult for someone to dispute you, especially if they care for you. 2. Use a lot of repetition followed by sad or horrific situations. This really drives home your point. And last but not least, find a way to spin the ethical questioning on the person you're trying to convince. This gets them to question if they have any more rights than questioning your debatable decisions. Really, Jason should start teaching this stuff. He's very good at it. You're not going to kill again. You have made your point as Red Hood, so you need not murder anyone else. Excuse me, what? He just gets away with it? He says one sappy thing and your one rule no longer applies to him? Are you joking? Dick cries in outrage. It's understandable. Earlier he got a 5-minute lecture on how he was tying criminals up incorrectly. I think it's a very logical explanation of why he did it. Tim, don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at Jay for killing people. He has a point. What I'm mad at is that if it was one of us and not Jason, we would have our suits torn away from us, and we would not be allowed to patrol ever again. I'm mad at Bruce's blatant favoritism that he promised not to show anymore. He literally promised less than a week ago, and he's already backtracked. Well, okay, so maybe Tim doesn't know how to respond to that. Maybe he knows that Dick has a point. Maybe he knows that he had a bit of a breakdown a few days ago over this exact thing. But maybe the part of the favoritism Tim didn't like was when he was compared to Jason. Maybe, just maybe, Tim was okay with this because he wasn't being compared to Jason. Jason was being compared to him. Maybe all they'd need is just a few therapy sessions. Tim thinks that's what literally any other family would do in this situation. But well, this isn't any other family, so obviously they wouldn't do that. Alright guys, and that is the end of Chapter 8 of A Golden Child Painted Red by S0129799. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.